everybody. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Ellie.
And I'm Melissa.
And today we are doing another Hot Goss with Unpopular Sauce episode.
Woohoo!
We are formatting this one similar to our last one,
Yes.
where we are going to do a court case, Ellie v. Melissa, the powerful edition.
Yes. Talking the novella.
Except we are talking the novella, so just a heads up for everybody listening, there are going to be spoilers for both Powerful and Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone this week, we were laughing because if you listened to our episode last week, Ellie was using like a dog toy in lieu of a gavel because we kind of decided last minute.
I'm embarrassed.
We were laughing so hard because you can't hear it in the recording.
So it's just like silence, a moment of silence.
And then we just laugh. Like,
and that's...
Or Ellie would be squeaking it and I'm like, you have no idea. And I'm talking and I'm just like, okay. And like, it just sounds like out of left field. But if you were watching, you see Ellie grab this duck and then nothing happens.
It's a Powerade. It's a dog toy Powerade.
And anyway, so this week I went on Amazon and I bought a mini gavel and we're going to be doing, I hope you guys can hear it. I'm doing as close to my microphone as I can.
We're in for a round 2 of embarrassing. Oh, guys, yeah. I forgot to mention. Did you catch our intro song? It's a little different than our other Hot Goss episodes as far as the intro song goes. It is a song made by the Bookish Songs Collective. You can check out their work on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. Again, Bookish Songs Collective. They wrote this song specifically for the book Powerless, but they've got a ton of other songs. It doesn't stop there. Written for different books. They say
and inspired
that,
by the books, too.
Yeah. Every movie has a soundtrack that inspires the movie. It makes it so much better. Books deserve that too. We totally agree. So they decided to take it into their own hands, and their music is beautiful, and it's so great to read and listen to it. Puts you in a good mood.
It sure does. Yeah, so go check them out. And I hope you enjoyed the little, not teaser, preview that you got listening to our opening song.
Yeah. That song slaps. I really like it.
It's so good.
Okay. If you like to shop... I was gonna.
What is happening? Oh my gosh, stall. Okay, well, Ellie's getting up to get the shirts that she thought she was gonna have already and continued to forget. So now she's putting it on.
I was gonna wear it for this episode, and I'm staring at it sitting across my kitchen, and I just keep forgetting. Okay, check this out. Look how
so cute. It's so cute.
Kingsvane is blooming. That is
Love
from
it.
Kingdom of Ash. Guys, this sweater's so cute. Here's Melissa's.
Yay,
Adriana's little summer camp. These shirts are so cute. If you want one, if you want to match your books, your favorite books, head to the Bean Workshop. You can get 10% off using the code L.A.M.E Book Club Pod. Or we have a link in our Instagram bio. You can click that and your 10% off will already be applied. So have fun shopping.
Yep. Thank you for doing that, Ellie. And if you don't already follow us on Instagram, any socials really, it's at L.A.M.E Book Club Pod. Go ahead, do that. Subscribe on YouTube. If you have an iPhone, leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. It all means a ton, and I mean,
yes,
a ton and the world to us.
A ton
so
and the world.
Thank you guys for being here. And
wait. Before we move on, I actually have, it's not a review because this lovely girl wrote us a DM, but she said she would have made it a review if she did not have an Android. So I asked her if I could read it on our podcast, and she said yes, but it was really sweet. I don't even know if you know this.
I don't.
But she said, this community has brought my baby sister and I closer and healed us in ways we were not expecting to be healed just by reading the same stories. I love the deadpan deliveries and unapologetic side quests from our podcast. And that's why I will never stop recommending your podcast to any book girly that will listen. Keep making the world a better place, one deadpan delivery and unhinged rant at a time.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh, thank you so much.
I know.
Man.
That was so sweet. So I had to read it on here.
I'm so glad you did. I was not expecting that. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Oh, wait, and I'll say who it came from. Her name is Yvette Lovett. Cute name, too.
Thank you, Yvette. That's very fun. I'm so glad that it was... And you know what? That's so true, because books do that. And like, I mean, I'm sure if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you've heard Ellie and I talk about, I mean, we've been friends forever, but we didn't get to talk as much. I mean, just life is busy. We live on opposite ends of the country. So, I mean, like, things happen. I have kids and stuff. I mean, like, things that are going. I've said that like 6 times already, and I'm just going to keep saying it. But they're all is well, and you just never know what is going to happen. But being able, or like reading the same stories, we just got to talk so much more than we would normally. And that's like even the reason why we wanted to start doing this, because we're like at the very least, like we get to hang out once a week. On a more consistent basis, and
we're like super fortunate that it picked up and gained some traction and has like gotten somewhere. But we were prepared for it to go absolutely nowhere and just be like, and we'll chat once a week and we'll put it online. And that's
then people can hear our rambling thoughts, and so I'm glad that other people relate to our rambling thoughts.
Good thing it went somewhere, because that would have been embarrassing. Just like 600 videos of just us talking. That's fine. Guys, if you do want to hear us talk just a wee bit more during your week, we do have a Wednesday episode. We are going through a Tandem Fandom, which is Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. We are kind of in the middle of it right now, but fear not, you can always go back because our episodes are online forever.
So true.
But this week we're doing on Wednesday chapters 30 through 36 of Empire of Storms and 25 through 35 Tower of Dawn.
That is correct.
That is it for housekeeping. We are done.
It sure
we
is.
can get started now.
All right. So powerful. Ellie v. Melissa. Court is in session.
You got to swear
Ellie.
in. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Do you promise to be nice, understanding, and even-tempered to a reasonable extent, so help me God?
I promise. Ellie, your turn.
Okay.
Do you promise?
I also swear. Oh, you're going to read the thing. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to read it because I don't have it. I was going to try and memorize it. So now that it's been extra time, we'll see what happens. Do you promise to be nice, understanding, and of reasonable temperament to some extent? Of reasonable understanding to some extent. Do. So help you God.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? What was the
so
end?
Help me God, but yeah.
Oh, well, it's you. You're the one swearing.
Yeah. I so help you God. Yes.
All right. So we're actually switching up stances here this week. Last week, I was
believe it or not.
I was pro powerless and Ellie was against powerless. And this week we are switching it up. I am not I liked it, not as much of a fan of powerful, and Ellie, dare she say, loved it. So
dare I say loved it. Also, I did want to talk about the results of our last episode. We said that you guys were going to be judge, jury. Hung jury.
There's been a mistrial.
50-50 in our comments.
So we might have to redo that one.
Good.
No, just kidding. We're not going to.
So good.
Yeah.
No, we took it to Instagram, posted our shorts, as we do. And
as one does.
I truly would say like a solid 50% were like, you idiot, how dare you speak badly about this book? You have a stupid opinion and it's wrong.
My gosh,
and that's fair. No, actually, that was one of the comments, like something so similar to that. And I was like, that's so nice. But then the other 50% was like, I could not agree more. This was not a great book for me. And I'm not going to like talk smack to the extent, because we were saying in our last podcast, like it's feat to put any book out. So props to Lauren in general. Whether this book has similarities to others or anything, like I feel like that's kind of on the editors at this point if it's like too similar, which we will talk about that too. But just in general, publishing a book at 20 years old, that's a great accomplishment.
So impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to call this out. My friend Taylor, not the Taylor you've heard us reference on other episodes.
You've got two Taylors in your life?
Taylor is a very common name. Let's not be surprised by this. But yes, I have two Taylors in my life. A different Taylor, I was talking to her, and I was impressed with myself. I'm just going to brag on me for 1 second, because she said that she wasn't crazy about Powerless, but then after listening to our episode, I convinced her that it was better than she thought it was.
Really?
So, I think I maybe win because of that. I don't know, but
I don't know, Taylor. You had a one-sided conversation. I could have been like, Taylor, listen, and it could have been totally different. So
that's
Taylor,
so true.
Reach out to me. I'd like to have a few words.
I can't. I think she's gonna listen to this
Taylor
one too.
At this point,
and I can't wait.
I will tell you what's up. All right. Do you have your opening statement?
Yes, I do, but I would like you to go first.
Okay, mine's kind of long.
Go first, then.
Because I felt like this was the bulk of last time, so I made this the bulk of this time too. Powerful was significantly better than powerless in every way, shape, and form, and I'm ready to fight for it. This pulls so much more emotion from the reader, this book. It is literally an embodiment of love, pain, heartbreak, rage, and devastation. And the world knows, or should know at least if you've spent any time on this podcast, that I am one for tragedy. So, point one, Adena is so endearing. Her character is different in general, which makes her fun for me to read. She lets all the hits and disses and whatever roll off her shoulders. She's a ray of absolute pure sunshine, trusting, etc. She's the total opposite from the typical FMC girl that has everything gone wrong and she's like, don't F with me, I'm not in the mood 24/7, and then has a man kind of break the heart exterior. I love that Adena was just like, I'm ready for love, here to hang. Point two, learning more about Adena makes you fall in love with her more, which is that much more devastating when you get to the end of the book, but I like it that way. Point three, knowing this book is a tragedy holds so much more weight with every move that the character makes, every conversation, all of that. I love stories that happen in between the lines, and I think that this is a concept I will never get tired of. For example, ooh, that's a spoiler, but I will say it. ACOTAR, this is a spoiler for ACOTAR, flip ahead 30 seconds, but in ACOMF, you know how we all find out the truth in the second book? And it's like, oh, shoot, if you were reading between the lines, you would have known that Rhys wasn't this guy, and instead he was, so for Feyre. I felt like this was so similar in that this book happened in between the lines of Powerless, and I love that. So, next point, you almost have this kind of hope that something could have happened in the end where you realize her death wasn't actually real, and I felt like I held on to that hope, even though I know what's going to happen, which again makes it so much more devastating when she actually does die. I love it. I love feeling like this. I'm not a die-hard fan of Mac, but I could totally understand his grumpy to lovey switch with Adena far better than I could get in the head of Kai Azur. I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I genuinely... I can't even fathom that those words just came out of your mouth right now.
I know.
Good Lord. All right, I guess keep going.
You're at, because if you were saying this about my favorite book, I would flip
This isn't my favorite book by any means, but oh my word. I just...
Good sword. Okay. Subpoint. I don't actually like the casualty between Mac and Hera. I said that I really liked Mac and his love for Adena, but the casualty between Mac and Hera, for someone who meant everything to him, I felt like he did not give 110% to save her. That's probably my only flaw with this book, where I was like, what the freak's your problem? Okay, I can guarantee if Adena knew Peyton was in so much danger that she had to get out, that she didn't stand a fighting chance, she would have done everything in her power, and that would have been her main focus. So for them to parallel Hera and Mac together the same as Peyton and Adena, I felt like it was not the same. Mac didn't care at all compared to Adena. So, now that I've made my counterpoint. Next point, I am a sucker that Adena melted Mac's heart and that they easily confessed how they felt about each other, and that we got some perspective from him, and that he was so excited to see her every day. More than love, but friendship too. And I really liked that. And then second to last, the stars. Are you kidding me? I am sobbing. Any book or movie that mentions some likeness to we'll be in the stars together, done. Evangeline in The Princess and the Frog, I am toast.
And then after Ray dies and the stars gets brighter. Oh, I cried so
it's
hard.
It's a origin story for the stars in all of Disney. How the second star to so precious.
I know.
Okay. Last point. Book food. Sticky buns, sticky honey buns, goodbye. I was so hungry this whole book. Yum.
Ew. Okay, I am
your opening statement.
I just can't even believe. Like, I can because it's not the first time this has happened, but I'm just again, so surprised at how opposite our feelings are on this. I feel like everything you said was why I didn't like it, but for the same reason. It's just like I felt differently about it. I actually only have 4 points in my opening statement because I feel like I have nothing to say about this book because it was so unimpressive to me.
Unimpressive?
So here are the couple of reasons why for me it was mid. But before I get into that, I will say I really did like the star part as well. I thought that was cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did like that. So now let me get in for the reasons why I thought it was mid. For me, Adena served her purpose in Powerless. I didn't need any more of her. When I started reading this book and I realized it was her perspective, I was like, I honestly was really disappointed because I'm like, this is what this book is about. And it took me a while to get into it because she was a side character and I didn't need her perspective. She made me cry. She made me bawl in Powerless. And she died, and that's it. I don't care to hear her story, but I will agree. It made it knowing that knowing how it ends. I did like that. Like I also too like the tragedy, like knowing something bad's gonna happen, but then getting the different perspective. I like that in a book, so I liked that aspect of it, and like knowing it was gonna be soul crushing, but I just didn't need her perspective. I wish it was something else and then happening at the same time and then we still got her death somehow again. I don't know. But I wasn't crazy about her personality in this novella, but I liked what she added to Power. Like I said, I liked her in Powerless, but I did not like her personality. Like I liked the little glimpses of her we got, but I got way too much of her in this. And I'll get back to this in a second. Mac was so boring. So boring. I have never been so uninterested in an MMC before in my life. And he was so hard to read about. Yeah.
The last episode, you're chipping away at my heart.
And I know this is my last point. Because again, like I said, I really just had nothing to say because there was just so uneventful for me. I know it was going for the grumpy and sunshine trope, but it wasn't it for me. Mac was too grumpy and Adena was too sunshine. She was like 14. I was like, get a grip on reality, my friend. You have had such a crappy life. You should not, like, I'm not saying that she shouldn't be happy and positive despite all those things, but she acted so naive and so unaware for how long her and Peyton have been surviving on their own, and they've been together this whole time, and Peyton was so jarred from the experience, so there's no way she should have been as happy and everything as she was. Like, she should have been a little, I think if she was toned down just a tad, I would have been way more interested in this, but she was just too bubbly and it was so unrealistic for me. So that's all I have to say in the beginning. Just honestly, like, it was so mid for me.
I was prepared to fight you on that, and I even started off with I'm prepared to fight you. But did you just open my eyes to I think I don't like this book? No, I'm not going that far yet. But I totally agree with you. As you say it, I'm hearing it, I'm soaking it in, and I'm agreeing.
Oh my goodness, this is the best. This episode is starting off so well.
For someone who has had so much happen, I totally agree with the statement that you were like, you need to get a grip, my friend. A lot's happened to you. It's not this sunshine and bubbles. And like, I totally love people with the positive outlook. But
absolutely.
Like, yeah, that's maybe too naive for the fact that like you're sleeping on a dirty rug outside.
You're sleeping in a cardboard box.
It's not great.
Like,
it's not going great.
You sleep in somewhere called The Fort, and you're mad that this guy who has a home doesn't want to visit it. That is weird. That's delusional. You're delulu, Adena. There's something
okay, but her fort is sentimental to her because that's where her and Peyton lived. Like that's her. Peyton is her home, and so
I am getting into that.
Is her home.
Don't you worry.
We have to keep going.
We are getting into this.
Second, I can understand to an extent though her naivete because Peyton was the one who always defended her. Peyton was the one who thieved, brought back money. She did her part by like earning an honest living's wage by taking the fabric that was gifted to her by Peyton's thievery and selling the clothes that she put her work into to make. Peyton was the one who lived the hard knock life. And so I feel like I understand Peyton being like, I've seen the world, I know what's up, where Adena was provided for and she's like, life's great. I go sell my clothes, I come back, I get sticky buns. She's so cute. I love her.
Okay, I agree with that point. However, again, it's just then at that point she has zero self-awareness or just
it's true.
Social awareness.
She's naive. I give you that. Yes, so naive.
I'm
like
not
when
saying
you're living in the cold outside, I think it's there's a point to be like, let's be a little bit more realistic. This isn't a good situation.
Yeah. Well, and again, I do agree with you. Peyton was essentially her caretaker and did all the dirty work so she didn't have to. Mm-hmm. And I'm not mad about the sunshine personality. I loved your point, like you said, that she's not like normal FMCs where they are the Peytons, the ones who had to do all the providing and they've seen the dark side of things and they're jaded and I do appreciate that about her. And I hope I know I said this, but I just want everyone to hear me and I'm going to make it very clear. I like that she was positive and had a good outlook on things despite her circumstances. I in real life, I think that's so strong, incredibly strong of people when that's the case. But she just was too much of that, and it was because of that, like I said, it just got way too unrealistic, and it was just not fun to read about because it felt like I was reading about a teenager who didn't understand anything that was happening in life. And so that made me be like, well, this is not fun to read about because who's this 12-year-old that's falling in love? Are you kidding me? That's weird. And and then we got Mac on the other end of the spectrum.
Yes.
We have
Mac
Mac
full
on the other,
adult. Yeah.
Full adult and
weird.
Buying all these things. And again, you'd think that I get it. Peyton did all this for her, but she still is living in the cardboard box and dirty rugs. She knows the place they are in life, and this guy just keeps dropping money, and she's not even batting an eye. And he obviously has more than her, but I'm not gonna assume someone has so much and oh, I'm gonna make you this costume, but it has to look good, so you have to go buy this super expensive fabric. And again, I understand it has to look real, but without even being I hope it's okay, or can you afford this? She's like, yeah, just go buy 80 yards of this fabric. It's gonna be real expensive. Also, get me honey buns every day. I'm like, what do you think this guy's made out of? Money? She has no idea how it operates, and it was so frustrating to read about.
But does she need to? I feel like her naivete is endearing to an extent because that is what makes her so positive. She doesn't see the bad stuff. The guys following her home, she didn't see the danger in that. So
that's
she was
stupid. That's
all
stupid.
Good.
No, that's
stupid. But she's so trusting, and that's why she was so I'll help you, Mac. Yeah, and she found love that way. She found something. She did die, but she found love.
Well, I would go so far as to say the death thing had nothing to do with her being naive. I think that would have happened whether she was naive or not.
Let me think about it.
She was, she didn't know. She wasn't. Peyton is the one who brought her to the castle. It's not like the king brought her with this ulterior motive and she just believed him.
Yes. But the king, okay, so this comes off of a review of our friend Taylor. She had mentioned, so you know how the king in the end was like, I brought a criminal, so don't worry about it being an innocent death. This person deserves to die as a criminal. Why did he say that? I kind of chalked it up to oh, he just wanted to get back at Peyton. But is there more to Adena, even in this story, that we didn't know for her to be labeled as a criminal?
No.
And so then would her naivete play into that? Where
no.
She just didn't know she was helping out the resistance or whatever. I mean, kind of. What if he found out she was harboring Mac and he was wrong?
No.
I dare say you don't know until book 3 comes out.
Objection. I know, because the girl doesn't understand the value of money. There's no way she knew what she was doing intentionally. Like,
what? What are you talking about?
What I just said about how Mac, like, oh, yep, go buy all these things. Also, I'm only going to help you if you buy me honey sticky buns every day. And all the, like, the guy spent more money.
Because she doesn't know about money, she couldn't know about XYZ. Well,
that's just, if she doesn't understand something as simple as that, living in a cardboard box, there's no possible way she knew what she was, like, that she actually was doing something wrong and being labeled a criminal. I think the king has been spewing lies to all the elites, saying that the ordinaries are draining them of their power.
But isn't that kind of the point here? Because she didn't know about, like, things as basic as if you can't afford this, you can't afford that, she couldn't know that she was doing something criminal. Doesn't that point to her naivete? That she's too naive to even know she was doing criminal activity?
Let me finish. I'm saying she's not that deep, like, is what I'm saying. She doesn't, her character is not that important in the story. It is more to do, the fact that the king said it's a criminal, don't worry. He was just saying that so that people weren't like, oh, he's killing a random person. The elites will believe anything he's saying. And if he says there's anyone, I mean, if he says that there's a criminal, they're just gonna be like, okay, that's fine. Who cares if they die? But he's also the same person who's been telling everyone that ordinaries drain their power, which is not just in their existence is what he's saying. Just being in their presence is what drains it, and that's straight up not true. So I think it was
value. I understand what you're saying, and I agree, because that's how I read the book. I was like, oh, of course he's lying because Adena's sweet and innocent. Even before we got the novella, he's lying. But Adena did harbor Mac. If anyone caught on to the fact that Mac is, what's the power that he has?
I can't remember. It's whatever Kai is, but I can't remember what it's called now. It's
the multi-powery one. Then that is harboring a fugitive. Okay. Same as also, well, I guess you could even chalk it up to she was friends with Peyton, so she must have known that Peyton was ordinary, which is also harboring a criminal.
But she didn't know Peyton was ordinary.
Yeah.
But okay, no.
So she was a criminal.
Let's take this back. Let's take this all the way back. She harbored no one. Mac harbored her. She lived in Mac's home.
Mac visited the fort, as you said.
2 times.
He slept on the wet rug.
He harbored her. No, he harbored her. She had no harboring of no sorts, but she did know about Peyton. And But Peyton also built the fort. So did Peyton harbor her as well? Exactly.
What we need to break down
Adena did no harboring.
Who harbored who?
Adena was always harbored. She
For
harbored
several
no
nights, one. Adena was hospitable, opened up her dirty fort to Mac. So therefore, criminal harboring, aiding and abetting. Also aiding and abetting. She was making him a uniform to get in.
Okay.
Aiding.
No one knew that he did that. No one knew that Mac broke in, so there's no way that he chalked that up to her.
Oh my gosh. Did, which we won't know until book 3. Only Lauren Roberts knows
Objection,
the answer.
Irrelevance.
It is.
Sustained, Ellie.
But isn't this whole podcast irrelevance?
Amen.
All right. Let's do our witnesses.
Yes, bring your witnesses to the stand. I want to grill them.
So I actually don't have like a bunch, because if any 5-star Goodreads review you'll see why I liked it, because they all just agree. And I'm trying to find some meat, not some like whatevers. Okay, right. So my first witness, Gillian from Goodreads. They say, it's refreshing to see a soft and bubbly character highlighted in a book. I think that we've already kind of we've tired this subject out.
Yeah,
but
it's not
Like
refreshing.
to say more.
Move on.
Yeah. It is to an extent, but objective,
it was refreshing. The idea of it was refreshing. Adena was not refreshing.
The idea of it was refreshing. The execution was not. I'll give that to you. All right.
Thank you.
Guys, I'm about to go to jail, it looks like. At objective 487 from Reddit. I am almost done with Powerful, and I am impressed with the chemistry between the two MCs. It is amazing to me how the author creates the electricity between the two without even one kissing scene. And here's where I'm backing this up. I recognize I said the opposite in Powerless about Peyton and Kai. I recognize it. But this was different to me, and I can tell you why.
Convenient. That's convenient.
It is convenient, and I'll tell you why. I think that it's because I was like, I don't know why. And I thought, Melissa's not going to take that. I need to know why. And I did. Now I know why. I came prepared. I have my notes. I think it's because they admitted to how they felt to each other rather than doing the cat and mouse chase of like, tell me you like me. No, I can't tell you. I'm supposed to hate you. Well, I hate you too. But then we're so close to kissing. But then we're going to get caught. What all that. I don't like that. I liked that they were just right. Like, yeah, we flirted a little halfway through the book. I really like you. I have feelings for you. All this. I don't need all the touchy-feely. Like, they waited a long time for the kiss, but I'm a sucker for an emotional bond that is, what's the word? Like,
I don't know
solid.
what you're saying because I disagree with everything that is being brought forth.
You're blocking out what I'm saying?
No, I have no idea what you're trying to say because everything you've said so far, I disagree with. So I don't know what point you're trying to make.
Well, how are you going to disagree with it if you don't know what I'm saying? I'm saying I even...
Oh my word.
Yeah, oh my word. The cat just, I'm wearing shorty shorts. The cat just like clawed onto me and dug her nails hooked into my skin and jumped up onto the counter from my skin.
Well, everyone, I hope that you're not driving while listening to this because you might have just gotten into an accident.
Guys, I'm sorry. That was outrageous. That was unhinged. Okay.
Well, you know what else is outrageous? The fact that you think there's chemistry between Mac and Adena.
Is, because they outright say it, and I liked it. I liked that he brought the soft side out, and that he immediately was like, I like you a lot. Did they say that they loved each other? No, but like halfway through the book. So we weren't waiting an entire book, the whole thing, which this was 180-something pages. Powerless was like
this was 250 pages. 250.
Sure. Powerless was much larger, though. And that entire thing, I still think they didn't tell each other they liked each other. They just kissed once. You can't gavel me.
I can gavel whenever I want.
You can't gavel whenever you want.
You did last time. That's what I get to do this time. Here's the thing. There's a difference between... I hear what you're saying. I do like when characters admit it to each other. But we were the reader. We knew how they felt. We knew that they liked each other, even if they didn't admit it to one another. So it is so different.
But they still... No. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Have you watched Stranger Things?
No.
Okay, well, I'm watching it right now, again. And that's not going to help if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, so there's no point in bringing it up.
Okay, here's where I'm going with this. You see a movie. You rewatch it for, like, whatever. You rewatch a movie. You know how it's going to end. But okay, this is not going to work. The analogy's not going to work. I need you to have said yes to the Stranger Things thing.
But I've rewatched a movie, so you can continue going on with that.
Hold on. Let me gather my thoughts. I'm almost breaking my vow. I'm almost unreasonable to an extent past what we can.
You don't have a point. That's the hard part.
Even though we know that they like each other, even though we know how like a story will end in a movie, that like, oh, they're going to end up together, they're going to kiss or whatever, like you still want to see it confirmed. You want to see Interstellar. Have you seen Interstellar?
I have not.
You're joking me.
I'm so serious.
Okay. Plot of Stranger Things real quick. This little boy gets taken. You know he's going to come home.
Season. I've seen the first season.
That's all you need to see. That's all you need to see. That's all.
Okay.
So this little boy, you know he's going to get found because he hasn't been dead yet. You know that like the whole season is alluding to they're going to find him, but they have to do the whole season is about them looking for him. But you know that they are because most shows end happy. They're not going to end in this massive tragedy where a child is lost forever. So even though you know that they're going to get him, you still want to see it confirmed in the end, like, oh, they got him. Same with this. Even though you know that they're in this, like, love thing, you still want to see it. And the fact that you didn't get to until the very end of the book, and they still didn't confirm that they loved each other or anything. They just kissed, and then you're like, oh, it looks good, and then they left. It was unsettling. I was not happy. It was not a good feeling.
You don't necessarily need to, especially if you see the ending, you know that they're going to get him. You don't need it to be confirmed. You've seen that. You want to know how it's going to happen. And that's exactly what we get from their point of view.
I'd agree with that.
I know that that's the whole point of reading the story, and that's the definition of a slow burn. Is it's gonna take a while, but like I know Peyton likes him. I know Kai likes her. I don't care. Like I know the ending. I don't need it to be confirmed with one another because I know how they're feeling. I just want to know what's gonna happen now, and that's why we read books.
No.
Yes.
No. Okay, I can't really debate with you on the slow burn. Maybe I'm not a slow burn person, but I liked Avatar, and that was a slow burn.
That was not a slow burn.
I just don't like this. Yes, it was. It took a book and a half for the true love interest to be revealed.
It took half of a book. It did not take a book and a half.
A book and a half.
No, it did not take a book and a half.
That is so beyond the point. Wait, bang the gavel. We're off point. Come back. Let me just read my third review. We'll just leave that one up to the viewers. Number 3.
I feel like I'm making such a strong argument, so I'm excited to hear their points.
You're making an argument that's not coming together is what's happening.
Oh my.
B from Goodreads.
Someone's frustrated.
I'm just... Okay, she says, let's change the title to Painful. And I just thought that was funny.
Wait, this is a pro?
What?
This review is like a 5-star and it's painful?
Yeah, this book was great because it was painful, in my opinion. I love tragedy.
All right,
this person does too. B. That's it. I just thought it was funny. I just thought I'd mention that one.
That is hilarious. I think we should change it to painful, but not because of Adena's death.
How dare you?
I do agree with that.
How dare you?
I do agree with that review. I don't agree with the stars given associated with it.
Ugh. All right, read yours.
All right, my first one is also short and sweet. Enough with the sticky buns. I was so sick of it.
How do you come into my home via webcam and insult me to my face via webcam?
Also, I forgot to say, that was from my witness, Emily, Bo, Sparkle Star. There were emojis.
I love
and
the
I don't...
Goodreads names because it's like,
Me too.
They don't, like, that's all you can do. This is
and
as much credit
Emily,
as I can give.
I couldn't agree more. I was so sick of hearing about the sticky buns reference. I'm like, I get it.
Sticky butts.
You like the beignets. Like, let's move on. Like, all right.
Okay,
my next
but it
witness
was just so poetic and powerless when she starts with the sticky bun blood, and then
that was what it was referenced once.
Blood. It was not. Adena and what's her name? Peyton.
No,
talk so much about sticky buns in the first 3 chapters, so much.
Again, Adena is the one talking about them, not Peyton. And 2, first 3 chapters of the whole book, and it was poetic because it was the beginning and ending tying it together, and there was 0 sticky buns in the middle and end, so it brought it full circle. My second witness is Aya from Goodreads. I get that this is a novella, but it felt super rushed. Agreed. I didn't connect with Adena as much as I did in Powerless. Also agreed. The romance between her and Mac was not it. Also, the plot was non-existent. They were on a mission, but then she went to the castle and bailed, ? And convinced Mac not to go through with it, ? Hera died and he mourned but accepted it, ? Also, he watched Adena die in front of him and he's over it. I felt like this was a fanfic, to be honest. Literally could not have said it better myself. And you are laughing and covering your face because you agree with it and you are changing your stance. That's fine.
Third one. I have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say because it's right. All right. But this one's long, but it's true.
Okay.
From
Wait,
Ashley.
back up from your mic a little. You're like...
I'm yelling because I'm passionate.
Mic. Yeah.
Ashley. While I understand, quote, powerful is a novella, it should be read with a grain of salt, which I did. Oh, sorry. While I understand it was a novella and should be read with a grain of salt, which I did, and I did too, knowing it was a novella, I have many issues with this book. Novellas can still feel flushed out and cause you to become attached to characters before they're introduced to the main storyline. Unfortunately, this novella fell far from the mark for me. I read Powerless and loved it. There were some questions, but overall, the story and character development had me gripped. I couldn't put the book down. Though, the one character I didn't find myself necessarily attached to was Adena. So I was quite excited to read Powerful to learn more about her. Did I receive that? No, I did not. Adena's character did not receive any more development. I didn't feel as though I learned anything more about her than I had already gathered in Powerless. She's bubbly and happy and always cheerful, annoyingly so. I got to learn how much she adored Pei and how much she valued their friendship, but that was essentially given in Powerless. We follow Adena and Mac's perspectives throughout Powerful. They have the grumpy sunshine trope. That trope fell flat for me and it felt incredibly forced, as in Lauren Roberts made it glaringly obvious. Perhaps Powerful had been a little bit longer, the grumpy sunshine trope could have flourished a bit more. As perspectives between characters alternate, we get to see how they start tripping into love with each other. But their conversations fell flat for me. It read as though us readers are supposed to quote their conversations and plaster them all over social media. I just couldn't help but roll my eyes and cringe, and I live for the cheesy cute quotes, but it was just too glaring. While reading Adena's perspective, I kept wanting to learn more about her, which I suppose I did to an extent, but nothing super impactful. We learn that she's naive and excited to trip into love. Mac's perspective and storylines felt as though he was the main character, which is fine, but not what I was hoping for. What we learn about him is that his power feels way too convenient for a future storyline development as the series continues, as I'm assuming Mac is going to play a vital role in this series. Additionally, how quickly he is to share such a deadly secret to Adena after he's known her for weeks is not very smart and not something that a person would do after hiding such a deadly secret for their entire life. The most impactful scene to me was Adena's death in Mac's perspective, which is when which I already knew Adena was going to die, and I had that looming over me the entire read. But for the only chapter to rip a shred of emotion for me was her death, I suppose Adena was never meant to be a fleshed out character. She was only written to develop Mac's character and Pei's. Maybe if their relationship and characters were a bit more fleshed out and the novella was a little bit longer, I wouldn't have received such a visceral reaction to the book. Additionally, maybe we would have received a physical book the same height as Powerless. Yes, I am one of those people.
That was frustrating. Yeah. I will give her that.
And yeah, so that to me just like really summed up everything. Like,
here's my one counter on that. I can see where she's coming from with a lot of that. I don't say I agree, but that's, I think, just kind of also the beauty of like books. Like, while I don't love Powerless and you do, that's great. And while you don't love this Powerful and I do, that's great. But I will say the one thing that I will counter with her argument is Adena not having like character development, like you know about as much of her as you did from Powerless in this book. I say nary to that. And
tell me what we learned
incorrectly.
Tell me what we learned in this book that we didn't already know in Powerless.
I will.
Powerful.
I'm fully prepared with notes. You didn't get more backstory, right? And that's maybe what people think of, like, oh, if I'm going to know more about a character, I want her backstory and like what's going on, what happened to her. I think she didn't have much of one. But you got to learn about how she falls in love, how she interacts with other people, how she is so trusting, how she works hard and thinks of those when, like, she sewed Mac that little knife thing because she just thought that'd be a good gift for him. Like, you did see her character develop a little bit, and you got some of, like, oh, that's who she is.
But that's all stuff we got from Powerless. We knew that about her because of how she had done those exact same pockets for Peyton in her vest. We know how devoted she is to Peyton in the conversations that they had together. We know how trusting and how loving she is because of how bubbly and happy she is versus Peyton's grumpiness. We knew all of that already. Literally, there's not anything that we learn in this book that gives her character any depth
I think
that
I just
we didn't already know.
Didn't pay too much attention to her in Powerless, so maybe I didn't realize that, like,
because she's
like,
not a main character. She didn't need her own. I didn't need her story. That's my whole thing. Like,
I don't know.
She gave the story what it needed in Powerless. We did not need 250 pages of a story about her. Like, I really think Mac is the only reason we have this story, and I think I wish he had been introduced differently. That is ultimately what I feel like.
Well, here we go with my closing argument then. Ultimately, I wish it was just this book. And I know what you're thinking. You wouldn't even appreciate this book without Powerless. And, okay, let me start over because now I feel like it's a broken sentence. Ultimately, I wish it was just this book. I know what you're thinking. You wouldn't even appreciate this book without Powerless. And maybe. But I think the writing in this book was stronger, the plot line was stronger, the romance was sweeter for me, and the tragedy was chef's kiss. I cried in the end, so it was a win for me. I did not cry in Powerless, even with her death. So I will say, if I could have just read this one book, I think I would have appreciated this whole movement all the more. But that's my opinion! So go ahead.
I just can't believe they're okay. I mean, here's the thing. I think if this had been a full book, there maybe would have been a plot, but there was nothing. There was nothing because this was just
it was a plot between the lines. That's what I love about it. This whole thing was happening while the main plot was happening. She fell in love. She went to go help Peyton. She helped Mac with. Oh, that's so cute too. She helped Mac try to.
That
Mac's
was so stupid.
Hera, but then finding Mac and his powers.
She did it. She convinced him not to do it.
The fort. He's waiting at the fort for her. She doesn't come, so he goes to find her, and she dies. And now she's in the stars. Oh, precious.
See, all right, what you just said sounds so cute, but that's not.
That's the book. You think I just made that?
No, I'm saying the idea that you just said is so cute, but everything else that was added made it so bad. Like, if that was a book and like the whole story, that I'd love it. Because I like the idea of this, but her character sucked. His character sucked. There was nothing between them. Like, they tripped into love. She literally, after like a week, that is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. That is a 12-year-old falling in love with the idea of love. That is not her falling in love with him. She didn't know anything about him. If she really loved him, she wouldn't have not convinced him to save his cousin who died and then is just like, oh, it's fine. Like, are you kidding me?
I gave it to you from the beginning of this.
I'm just saying.
From my opening statement, I was like, I don't love the Mac and Hera storyline. That was weird to me. Yeah. The fact that he's like, she was my everything. I don't need to go help.
Here's the fact that it's written in a way that we think Hera is a lover, but actually his cousin, weird.
Yeah, whoops.
Yeah, whoops. Big whoops. Anyways, here's my closing argument. The only point to this book was to introduce Mac and apparently ruin I said Aiden, but I meant to say Adena. And apparently ruin Adena, which I feel like could have easily been done in Powerless. It felt rushed, missed the mark, and both characters fell flat for me. Even Adena's death wasn't as sad as I assumed it would be, since I had a hard time connecting with either character. I love Lauren, and I love the banter she's created between Kai and Peyton, but the banter between these two characters was painful and hard to read. At the end of the day, I just don't have much to say, and that's how I know it wasn't great. So.
And yet, for those with not much to say, we've completed 47 minutes and 41 seconds of this.
I had way more to say than I thought I would, but
I am maybe not even going to leave it up to judge and jury for our audience. I mean, please, by all means, give me your insights and feedback and your opinions, but I actually think I'm going to give this one to Melissa. I think I don't love this book as much as I thought I did. I just like it enough.
Thank you.
That's
and
where
it's
we're
funny.
ending.
Going
Catch
over
me on
this,
Goodreads. I'm going to drop it a star.
It's funny because you say that you realize you didn't like it as much going through this. I also realized I didn't like it as much going through this, and I didn't like it that much to begin with.
It takes that sometimes, though. Even on our Catch Our Wednesday episode, we talked about like how we went through Court of Silver Flames and how we're going through Tower of Dawn, and I'm like, I hated Tower of Dawn as I read it. As I go over it for a second time as we're deep diving, wow, that book is good. I loved Silver Flames as I read it. When we went over it in the beginning of doing our podcast, I don't think I liked it as much. So it does take sometimes a deep dive and a second look and someone else's opinions to just really open up your mind and be like, oh yeah, maybe that wasn't great. So last thing, do we have any theories on Mac for book 3? Because I have one.
Well, no, I don't. Because I don't know. I've read book 3, so.
No, not Reckless.
Sorry.
Not novella 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Well, let's save that for after Reckless then, because that's going to make way more sense. Anyone who's read Reckless most likely has already read the novella as well then too. But not just because you read the novella doesn't mean you've already finished Reckless.
I've not finished Reckless, but like
so then maybe you should finish finish Reckless before you finish your theories for the next book.
Then I'm going to give my theory for now. I think he's going to meet Peyton somehow, some way. Yes, I think he's going to meet Peyton somehow, some way, obviously. She's going to trust him because she'll see her matching vest that Adena made him. They'll swap Adena's stories again, and I'll cry. He'll become a huge asset to the rebellion. But I'm not sure if Kai will be on their side yet or not. Kit will be the villain. And Mac is going to be essential to take down Kai if he hasn't switched. Or Mac and Kai will be power buddies and take down Kit. The end.
I'm so excited for you to finish the end of Reckless.
Reckless?
Yeah. If and how that
Watch
changes
me eat these very words.
No, I actually think most of what you said is spot on, but I also think everything you said, it's like, well, but if not this, then this, and if not that, then this. There's like so many possibilities that you pretty much covered any potential. So I think
just if Kai doesn't switch, then he and Mac are going to be friends. And if Kai does switch, he and Mac will be friends. If he doesn't, then Mac's going to be Mac versus Kai, the ultimate breakdown.
Okay, I guess you had worded it differently, so I misunderstood. Yeah, so I'm excited for you to finish Reckless and see how that changes for you. But I also think the first half of what you said is true. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to see the vests, and with how big of a deal she made even the beginning of Reckless, vests. Like keeping the vest. And
can I say something about the vests? I think that's gross. To wear a vest every day, to do as much physical activity as Peyton is doing, and to swear that you'll wear it every day. I could not swear to one article of clothing every day. I could if you made me like a ring or a necklace or a bracelet, like an accessory. That means so much more to me of like, I will wear this every day. That's acceptable. A whole vest...
Now I know that if my dying wish to you is to wear something I made you every day, you're going to be like, I can't do that.
It depends on what it is.
And then I'm going to die.
If you were like, please wear
Ellie, wear this shirt that I made you every day.
I'd reject your dying wish. I actually think
I love you.
Like,
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then I die, and that's it. But
I'll wait until like, I'll be like, let me think about it.
And then wait till I die.
And then I'll pause. And then when you die, I'll just like leave. No answer.
You're going to turn into that Bugs Bunny meme. It's like, no.
Yeah. No. Okay. Guys, that is our podcast. Let us know what you think.
Yes.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you have an iPhone, or YouTube comments, like and subscribe.
All the things.
Or hit us up on Instagram and give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and tune in for our book club episode on Wednesday. Bye.
Yep. Bye.